I will speak to Tsekiso Machike, Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Development spokesperson. But firstly, I'm joined by journalist Pauli van Wyk. Pauli, appreciate your time this afternoon. Now, what specific evidence has led to the Hawks' decision to launch this probe into Simelane's involvement?
Good afternoon. So the Hawks say in a search and seizure application to the court that leaked to politicians in Polokwane that it seems as if there's indications of corruption and money laundering, and this is the evidence that they seeked from Minister Simelane's former PA that was her PA when she was mayor in Polokwane. And that is the information that the Hawks are probing and the possible evidence that they are looking at.
So let's talk about the severity of these allegations in terms of South Africa's legal framework on corruption and money laundering. What laws specifically may have been violated?
So the Hawks are considering the anti-corruption legislation of South Africa. We call it PRECA and POCA. And then, of course, certain money laundering legislation as well, which would speak to the same set. And there's obviously perhaps something like fraud and theft that may come into it at the moment as well.
So obviously issues of conflict of interest are key. Now, given that Simelane was the mayor of Polokwane when these investments were made, how significant is her potential conflict of interest regarding the coffee shop transaction and her current role as Justice Minister?
It's a huge conflict of interest, and I think it's really troubling that she claims to not see it. The parliamentarians, all the MPs told her, this is really a conflict of interest, and we highlighted to her as well. And it seems as if the minister just, steadfastly denied that there is a conflict of interest. And this is, if our listeners want to make up their own minds, these are the facts that they need to consider. Firstly, she is the mayor of Polokwane. Then Polokwane in a tender process, and I know that she tries to frame it differently, but we have the tender process, there's investigations into it. There was a tender process that in which Gundo was appointed as a service provider to the municipality. Then, almost in secret, quietly, the minister, the mayor at the time, then asks Gundo advice for personal financial a coffee shop buying that she intends. And then the same service provider says, no, we have a loan package that you can retrieve from us. And this is the timeline. So firstly, the VBS, or the municipality, Polokwane municipality, invests two investments, 130 million rand in total, into VBS. Then VBS pay the fixer, Khaliom Razwanani, 2 kickbacks. And from there, the kickbacks flow into the same kickbacks, and we have the bank statement, so I can prove this in a court. Those kickbacks then are used, a portion of it, to pay for Simelane's coffee shop into payments. Now, all of what I'm just telling you happened in the space of between 30 to 45 days. And that sounds highly suspicious. So she receives a benefit from a service provider that is a service provider to the municipality. She, under oath in Parliament, told the council or told parliamentarians that she did not declare the loan or the benefit at the time. And I think personally, this is perhaps an indication that she knew it was problematic, because the DA politicians in Polokwane at the time were asking a lot of questions about Gundo and later a lot of questions about VBS. And she probably realized it's not going to fly if she now says she received this benefit from a municipality service provider. That's the first conflict of interest, and all the parliamentarians highlighted this to her. The second is, now she's the executive head, the executive person responsible for the prosecuting authority. And the prosecuting authority is seized with the sprawling VBS municipality, or the VBS mutual bank investments and the fraud and corruption that happened there, and all the prosecutions relating to that. Now, in effect, the NPA and the Hawks, who is a different entity. They report to the Ministry of Police. But so the Hawks and the NPA now have to investigate the person that holds executive authority over the prosecuting authority. So she's an ultimate beneficiary of VBS loot and therefore a VBS suspect. And she's the executive head. So that doesn't make sense. There's two huge pieces of conflict of interest here.
Pauli, very, very quickly, interesting times indeed. Now, how likely is it that Simelane will be suspended or face further disciplinary action, given that opposition parties like Action SA and DEA have filed complaints with the public protector?
Well, I think she should step down. That's the right thing to do. And in any functional democracy, the president would have actually stepped down when his Minister of Justice is caught in such a very problematic dilemma. In the case that she doesn't have the honor to step down, this is a question for the president, is when are you going to act?
Pauli van Wyk, journalist, appreciate your time unpacking that issue for us on the Justice Minister. But we are moving on and speaking to Tsekiso Machike, Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Development spokesperson. Tsekiso, appreciate your time. You've obviously been privy to this conversation we've just had with Pauli van Wyk. Calls for, according to her, that the minister should step down. But before we get there, just Minister Simelane has consistently reaffirmed her commitment to transparency and ethical governance. Can you elaborate on the steps she has taken to ensure full cooperation with the Hawks investigation into this VBS matter?
No, thank you very much for having us. I think firstly, the point which I want to put across is the fact that the minister is under no investigation on any matter as relating to VBS. That is the first point that which I want to underscore, that Minister Simelane, the Minister of Justice and Constitutional Development, she is currently under no any criminal, civil or investigation of any nature. Whoever says the minister is under investigation, that will be false. Secondly, the minister, upon receiving media inquiries from News 24, which was later joined by Daily Maverick through Ms. Pauli van Wyk, she did cooperate with the investigative journalist, and she fully disclosed what happened in terms of the allegations that are now widely reported in different media sections. She responded adequately until such time that she took a decision that she will now account to Parliament, and from Parliament she will go to the President of the Republic of South Africa, to her party which has deployed her to government, and ultimately to the people of South Africa. And subsequently, because the Parliament is open for public viewing, the minister wittingly or unwittingly did indeed yesterday very elaborate, took the members of the public, the South African citizens and beyond, into confidence as far as this matter is concerned. And thirdly, which is another important matter to be underscored, the minister has not received any money from VBS, and she is on record. She is on record without any obfuscation, indicating that she only got a loan from Gundo Wealth Solutions, not from VBS, because that is a lie that has been consistently being peddled in media, that the minister is linked to a VBS. There's no substantial evidence to actually ascertain that claim. It's a falsehood, and they want to dismiss it with the contempt it deserves, because it continues. If it will not be dismissed and to occupy the discourse unchecked, it will continue to malign the character, integrity, and standing of the minister in society.
I think the minister, Tsekani, sorry if you allow me, is Tsekiso, is that the issue is not so much the minister's involvement with getting a loan from VBS, but the fact that a VBS fixer is the one that provided the loan of 575,600 rand. But while we're at it, and given that Minister Simelane has repaid that loan of just over 500,000 rand in installments, has the minister provided any formal documentation or proof of these payments, either to the Hawks, the media, or Parliament?
Well, the minister, it will be an admission of guilt if the minister will take the evidence that she must give to the president, and upon receiving of a council advice, give it to the Hawks. Why will you give the Hawks evidence when you're not under investigation? She did indicate in the committee yesterday that she will seek legal advice, because as far as she is concerned, the evidence which is annexed in the report that she prepared for submission to the president is before the table of the president. So I don't think that it will be correct for the minister to give Hawks information when she's not under any investigation.
Well, the Hawks investigation, Tsekiso, if I could ask you please to sit back. We can't quite capture your full view. Thanks very much for that. Now, the Hawks investigation is based on allegations of potential violations of the Municipal Financial Management Act and possible corruption. What is the ministry position on these accusations, and how does it plan to address them publicly? You've already said that the minister took the Parliament and obviously the citizens of South Africa into her confidence. Can we expect her to do the same where this is concerned?
No. The minister did indicate that there was a report which was commissioned by the provincial treasurer of Limpopo during a tenure as the executive mayor of Polokwane municipality. And she did indicate that there were recommendations after the investigation was concluded. And some of the recommendations was that she contravened Section 52F of Municipal Finance Management Act. And there were recommendations in terms of what is to be done as far as that transgression is concerned. She did indicate, by the way, if members of the media and the public were following the proceedings yesterday, she did indicate that she was sanctioned to go to a university to be enrolled on a course, which were the recommendations that were made by the report of the provincial treasurer. And amongst other things, it's also important to underscore a point that the minister, she did succinctly articulated a point that the Polokwane municipality, in whole of this saga, did not lose any cent out of the investment which was made to the VBS by the municipality. I think that it's one of the important points to be spelled out, so that there's no public perception which would think that the Polokwane municipality under Mayor Simelane at that time lost any significant or any cent.
But the issue is, Tsekiso, is not so much the loss of money as much as it is the principle of municipalities investing money in mutual banks. I think this is where the irregularity stems from. Now, we also understand that Minister Simelane withdrew municipal funds from VBS 2 months before National Treasury's advisory on investment irregularities. Could you clarify whether this decision was influenced by any concerns about the legitimacy of the VBS dealings at the time?
Again, she did indicate during the proceedings of the portfolio committee that by the time when the municipality made investments during a tenure, the municipality did not have a municipal manager at that time. And upon appointment of a municipal manager who now took over as an accounting officer on full-time or fixed-term contract basis, the municipal manager did some review of the investment which the municipality had with different banks at that time. And it came to the attention of the municipal manager that some of the investment, particularly the investment with the VBS bank at that time, was irregular, and instructed and made a recommendation to the municipality that the municipality ought to withdraw its investment from that particular bank. And this was before, by the way, the National Treasury could issue a circular that all municipalities must disinvest into the mutual bank of VBS.
So you do confirm that that investment was irregular?
It's laid bare. It's public knowledge. There was many reports, different reports commissioned around the collapse of the bank do indeed underscore that point that the investments made by different municipalities across the country were actually irregular.
All right, finally, before we let you go, what message would the ministry like to convey to South Africans who may be concerned about the Justice Minister's involvement in this high-profile corruption case, particularly given the role of the NPA in prosecuting VBS-related cases?
The minister conveyed a message of respecting and upholding the judicial independence and prosecutorial independence, which brings into the picture the National Prosecuting Authority. She did indicate on her first meet and greet meeting with the NDPP and her team that she gives them her full support and cooperation on matters which they seek support from the minister as a central executive authority overseeing the work of the National Prosecuting Authority. The matter of prosecutorial independence is what the minister has promised the citizens of South Africa that she's going to uphold without fear or favor and without any compromise.
Okay, that's where we'll leave that conversation. Tsekiso.